lots of things are happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. What a busy day. Well. I had my daughter, I had all kind of people, the young people. Today was young people business in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have someone by the name of I Show Speed. I've never heard about him. But for the past couple of days, we understand that this blogger, this influencer that have millions, 53, listen, a ton load of followers, and he was in different island, and he touched on St. Kitts today. We was looking forward to hear him. And we was looking forward to hear him, to be here on the grounds in St. Kitts from since 1 o'clock or somewhere between 1 to 4 p.m. Nevertheless, he did came, and I could tell you I stayed on. I can't believe I literally was on the stream, vibes and just listening, seeing this guy. And I like the guy vibes, but I could tell you St. Kitts was ready. I don't know if you never heard about St. Kitts, but you know about us now. It was such a joy to see the young children and the way how he interact with them, and over there at Boozies. And, I love the way how, the young lady was, explaining the different dishes, and he tried the dishes and stuff like that. It looked like, not saying that he never liked the saltfish, because he liked everything, but it looked like that the goat water and the cook-up. The cook-up went down a little bit different to him. I think he ain't even accustomed to these things. But St. Kitts did, listen, St. Kitts, are you shut up? Are you more than clocking? Are you shut up? I must say, give St. Kitts and Nevis, I give yourself a round of applause. Are you shut up? They shut up, PT. And I thought that was it. Next thing, like we had Juve morning, we had carnival, We had carnival, literally had carnival here for Mr. Aisho. And I just want to let you guys know, yeah, that's what's happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Today, we literally show up, okay? Yeah, so big up yourself, St. Kitts. And I don't know if this is a Caribbean competition, but St. Kitts don't win. Yeah, I don't think this guy had expect all, Sister Sensia, everybody that, was a part of this planning. Now you big up yourself. Y'all did well, very, very well. I am so proud. I mean, you had the young people locked in, people laughing. I was getting some jokes too, People was all excited to just, let the whole world see them, and then I see the little young man and his donkey. That was so funny. I said the race was too easy, but it was just something nice to see. So, yes, that's one of the things that has been happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We are connected on the internet. And believe it or not, I know some people, maybe they don't have no interest in the internet, but this is the world. People get with the program. We are now connected, and I want to thank that young man, I Show Speed, to, consider St. Kitts and Nevis. And thank you very, very much on behalf of my beloved country, and we'll talk with Lavi. All right. I must say a pleasant good evening to Mr. Azad Gumbs. He's celebrating birthday tonight. Today's his birthday. Yeah, so happy birthday once again, Mr. Azad Gumbs. Yeah, and to other person that are celebrating birthday, and those that are celebrating in the month of April. This is my month. So I celebrated my birthday on April 4th, and my birthday ain't done until April is finished. So we have one more day, which is tomorrow. Today's the 29th, and tomorrow is the 30th. So tonight, I must let you guys know I'm going to be here waiting for our guest, Mr. Honorable Kelvin Simon, out of Antigua. Tomorrow is Antigua Amber Bureau general elections. So we are going to be having Mr. I'm going to say Honorable Kelvin Simon. He will be joining us shortly. And yeah, hopefully we're going to have a great time with him once he come on here and you get to know a little bit more of Kelvin. He was here on the phone with us last week, but we're bringing him back today. What else is happening here on the grounds? It's a beautiful Wednesday. This is Real Talk with Lavi. Right, and the Federation is mourning the passing of none other than our King, Elimat. Yeah, King Elimat. I just want to say condolences to his family and friends and the nation. I want to say a pleasant good evening, an extra pleasant good evening to Mr. Styling Morris, Elimat. I know many of you will have known that we would have been talking about Elimat on this show. I mean, I think it's since last year. And Mr. Styling Morris, that's one of his friends. That's one of the person that would really go and look out for King Elimat. And he has, he has passed away. I think there's someone else that passed away. Yeah, and we're going to go in the boxing world now, in the sports world, and we have lost Mr. Fighting Hunks, and I think he's out of a cannery, right? The cannery area. So St. Kitts has lost two very important people who has basically played a significant role here, one in sports, in boxing, and one in entertainment with, musician, the late Elimat. Elston Nero, that's his name. I stand corrected, but I think it's Elston Nero. And of course, Mr. Fighting Hunks. And for any other persons that were going through any loss of family, loved ones, friends, if anyone is out there celebrating also, I want to say a pleasant good evening to you. Right, and I just learned that the Honorable Iseline Phillip, her birthday was last week. So once again, you have the Honorable Iseline Phillip. And I think, and also the passing of Sergeant Shah, Officer Sergeant Shah. I used to do her here back in the days. Speaking about Officer Shah, that was someone I really look up to, especially when you look at policing and to see, when you hear Shah took her role as a police officer very, very serious, and she made her way up in the rank. Yeah, she made her way up in the rank in the police force, and very respected and young too, I'm so sorry of her passing. I want to send condolences to the entire police force, Royal St. Christopher Police Force. That must be tough for many of them. I saw Ian Quealy, he put it up on his post, and I also saw the previous commissioner. Williams, he also put up that on his post. I saw many people putting it out on Officer Shah. I want to say, I think Diane Shah is her brother. I want to say condolences to you, Diane. I did not even know that Shah was ill. And so it really touched me because that's a young woman. So that's what's happening. Any word of Kelvin as yet? As to what's going on, it is 8:24. We did had Honorable Kelvin Simon, for whatever reason. We're still here waiting. So, when things like this happen, you kind of show you off, because when you prepare to basically present yourself with a show and then things happen. Yeah. So that's what's going on right now, but I know St. Kitts and Nevis today for sure. I mean, when I came down in town earlier, I literally thought that you had like sports day or a carnival event or something was going on. It's just so good to see so many people, but I just want to let people know if you're still on the road, be safe out there. So this is actually what's happened down here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So I'm still here waiting. St. Kitts and Nevis, a pleasant good evening to you. This is Lavi Gumbs of The Real Talk. If you're just in tune, a pleasant good evening to you. Those on the internet, those via YouTube, good night to you. And as you know, tomorrow is Antigua elections, and I am waiting to see if we can still get Mr. Kelvin Simon. And Mr. Kelvin Simon, he is widely known by his nickname, Mr. Shuggy. Yeah, so Shuggy is a fresh voice in Antigua politics. He is a guidance counselor, former national basketball player, and the UPP candidate for constituency St. Mary's South. I understand that Antigua have just about 17 constituencies. How much we have here in St. Kitts? Why, 8? 8 in St. Kitts and 3 in Nevis. So combine them is 11. So it's Antigua and Barbuda. So I'm assuming that when Shuggy come here, he will be able to tell me how much constituencies in Barbuda. Yeah. So I guess many people are wondering, who is Kelvin Shuggy Simon? So Mr. Kelvin Shuggy Simon, he is a counselor and coach. You know, he spent 15 years as a guidance counselor in schools. And I can't wait to ask him some questions concerning the guidance counsel as well. You know, he pushes holistic development. He sounds like a healthy person, somebody that believes in well-being. That's very good. And he believes in physical fitness. Yeah, physical fitness is mental health medicine, not just politics. You hear that? I like that. Those are the people that we want into government, you know. Somebody that basically into holistic development. That's a great representation, you know. All right, so the political fighter, that's what they call Mr. Kelvin Shuggy Simon. And Kelvin is, the last time I spoke to him, I think he was like 44 years. So, you know, he's strong and healthy. And he's a physical fitness, so, you know, his body's set and ready. Former national basketball player and everything. So what we're looking at, he's a political fighter, and he was elected January 23rd. He faced a legal challenge over his public servant status. He voluntarily resigned and won a second election. Look at that. He won a second election in 2023. Yeah, the people decide, not the court. You hear that? So the people decide. So imagine, it looked as if like he went in and he won. And he first tried. And I guess they couldn't believe it, so they take him to court. It wasn't a fluke. And they had another election, and the people decide, not the court. The cool politician. So this is how they describe him, eh? I well want to see him, you know. The cool politician. He's a former national basketball player and a big personality. He loves carnival. Well, you know, Troy, I think he said he'd come down every year for music festival, you know, carnival, eh? So every year he's in St. Kitts, and I think St. Kitts is being known for the place, for carnival, for hosts when it comes to carnival and music festival. I mean, as again, if you see how I show speed I don't think that he had prepared for this in St. Kitts because I saw a little mini carnival and I saw him. Sister Sensia them had the man up on the truck, and you know I see him up there with the St. Kitts flag, and the crowd of people looking down. We treat him like a celebrity, not just like an influencer. We treat him like a celebrity here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Big up yourself, St. Kitts. Any word as yet as to what's going on with Mr. Shuggy? Oh, okay. Are you there? Maybe if you want to hop in, you could come in, So, first of all, I would say in the meantime, since we're waiting for Shuggy, I love to have Troy in with me always. Troy, is it okay to call you Troy or Biff? Biff?
Anything that belong to me.
I think I know you as Troy, but maybe people more know you as Biff.
Yeah, that's correct. I somehow the average man on the street, median on the street, Mr. Mills, yes, that's my name, but yeah, I prefer Troy. And if you come to formal settings, it's a different kettle of fish. Because I'll call you Lavi, but when it comes to formal situation, I say Miss Davis. And this Mr. This and Mr. That is really the English style. Because when you go to the US, you go into a supermarket, you're going to speak into Bob, not knowing that Bob is the general manager or the manager, maybe even the general manager, but you're just going to see Bob.
Well, when it comes to the States, people address people more by ma'am, no sir, yes sir, and as I said, the ladies, ma'am or Miss Lavi. So I don't really get to hear the Mr. This and that kind of thing up there.
Exactly, because that is more an English tradition, and we are English.
Absolutely.
Colonized by the English, we also colonized by the French, right?
Okay.
The only country in the Caribbean that is the English mother colony of the Caribbean and the French mother colony of the Caribbean. But I like the Bob and but I notice most of them are one syllable. Tom.
Okay. All right. So we're just here waiting, and I guess we'll see what's going on with Mr. Kelvin. Hold on. All right. So, are you back?
Yeah, most times it's a one syllable. Tom, Pat. You may see double syllables like Mary or Sandra, but simple names. And I once heard that may not be their real name. It may be a name given to them for the marketing purposes, because you may not remember Schwarzenegger per se. And these names, the parents are giving the young people. You can't even say if it's a boy or a girl. So that is something I've written. When I'm writing letters overseas, especially in the table tennis fraternity, I get a letter. Yours truly a name and a thing. I don't know if to say dear, what the name is, dear Mr. That or dear Miss That. So I'll have to go. I just don't know if it's a male or a female. So we have to be mindful, and we're getting fancy with our names. The first few letters from the dad name, the first few letters from the mother's name, and things like that, and granny's name mixed up in there, and whatever the case is. But I mentioned Nevis Premier Sandra. I am forgiving me for calling you Sandra Lavi. Nevis Premier expresses concern that Destiny Project may not come to fruition. And this is an article carried on winnfm website from April 28th, written by Kevin Brown. The Destiny Project in Nevis remains stalled due to an ongoing review process by the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis. While the Nevis Island Assembly, the NIA, has already approved the proposal, the project cannot proceed until it receives federal sign-off under the Special Sustainability Zones SSZ Act. During his monthly press conference, which was yesterday, I think it was, the Premier of Nevis, Honorable Mark Brantley, admitted his fear that the project may indeed be lost. And I quote, if the Destiny project is lost, it may well be. I think we have to confront that realization. What saddens me is that if it is lost, I would have liked it to have been lost because there are substantive concerns about the project not being lost through delay. And that to me makes no sense. If you have a position, and come forward and say what that position is, because then you might be able to assist. Where Destiny started as a proposal and where it now is fundamentally different, because we have negotiated and renegotiated positions as one would expect. Most developers come in and they want everything, and you have to negotiate with them. That's why governments do so. So my point is that if there are concerns, bring those concerns to the fore, share them, and have those concerns addressed, and then we can move forward. But silence has been the problem. That no progress has been the problem. So that is the concern we have, and we may well lose the project through that. End of quote. And I could understand what Premier Brantley is saying. If 1, 2, 3, these are the 3 problems that we are not happy with, so we can't approve it, let me know so I could work with developers and fix them, or whatever the case is, Lavi. But what Premier Brantley is saying, or let me put it this way, what I'm interpreting, what I'm understanding that Premier Brantley is saying, the problem is here in St. Kitts with the federal government. They are not doing what they are supposed to do for whatever reason or reasons, but no communication is coming back. Let's go to a break, Lavi, and we will be right back for your listeners.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the doorway or any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't want to run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Lavi, I had the privilege of being downtown for the speed. I passed where I was on my way back to WinFM 98.9, and I really thought it was carnival day, Juve or something. The jamming, the crowd, and I dare say the youth. A lot of school children were
Yes, they were so excited.
there in uniform.
Yes.
So the thing is, I wondered, no disrespect to anybody, if the parents knew that they were going there, because if you're in school uniform, it suggests to me that you came from school, went there. And based on what I was hearing, he was to be here in St. Kitts between 2 and 4. The traffic department informed the public that certain routes would have been blocked from 2 to 4 in anticipation of him being there. But he left, where it was Guadeloupe, like after 4, getting here minutes to 5. And this guy got a lot of energy, a lot of energy. I only heard, well, maybe because I'm not in the teens and 20s, I only heard about him yesterday, Lavi. But this guy has like 53 million followers and things like that, and he has a lot of energy.
I think maybe going forward for something like this, because I also saw a few lives on social media where some locals, especially taxi drivers over in the southeast, was having like a backed up where the place was all backed up with tourists can't get to come out to go about their destination. So I hold on. Yeah.
Well, the thing is and there was the folklore element. There were Makajumbis, and he seemed pretty impressed with them. They were dressed in the national colors, and they were clowns as well, the clowns and the string band, and there were some carnival costumes. And it was looking extremely festive, and
Hello?
it was really interesting to see him, and he was actually, to me, I got the impression he was enjoying it. He said yes. She said yes.
Okay.
So that was a mini carnival. It seemed like, well, the marshals were out, the security. He has his personal security, but the security personnel from it seems to be Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, they were operating. And these guys ain't making no joke. And it was a massive crowd. And not only young people, some elderly people were there, and as you would expect, everybody got the phone and things like that. And I think Ika the Railway, it was the DJ, Sister Sensia, and Pinocchio. I have to compliment those persons in St. Kitts who were instrumental in accommodating here. I don't know who it is, but I think he was to be flying out tonight to go to St. Martin. But I understand, and of course, you can't quote me on this, but the shushu in the crowd, so to speak, was that he's going to spend the night in St. Kitts Because even if he goes to St. Martin, there isn't anything he could do yet. And he was looking pretty exhausted. And
The man accustomed. I heard him. He said he accustomed. This is I think his ninth time going to different islands. So he's not new to this thing. And he said he's okay.
but I think the thing about it is, from what he said, he's trying to break a record streaming from 4 countries in one day. And I know he was in Dominica this morning, earlier today. He was in Trinidad yesterday. I think he may have been in St. Lucia. I believe it's today. So St. Kitts and St. Martin would have been his 4 countries. And streaming, as in streaming without any interruptions. So even when he's on the plane, he's streaming, he's talking. When he's having dinner or lunch, he is talking. So once the stream goes live from how many hours ago, he keeps on streaming. I guess that is the record.
I guess again he has his team, and this is nothing new. I would say this, that I think going forward, if we as a country gonna be doing things like this, I am as a mother, I think that maybe I don't know if the schools did it, but I think that they really need to start getting some kind of preparation with the parents as well, because when you look at children out and maybe some parents can't find them, you're looking at adolescents, right? I'm very, when it comes to children, we got to be so careful of having your children just loose out there in the crowd. It appears that we are having, Mr. Kelvin is on the line. Hi, pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Kelvin.
Can you hear me properly?
I can. I think his volume a bit low. Can you hold your device a little closer?
All right, can you hear me better now?
A lot better.
Okay.
Mr. Kelvin Shugi, I've been waiting for you quite a while. It's now 8:47. I know tomorrow is the elections. I'm quite sure that you'll have tried to be here for 8 o'clock, but the people want you as a people's man.
Yes, for sure. You hit the nail on the head. Let me say, first of all, good night to the listening audience. It's a pleasure being on the platform there in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite. And for sure, I was on the ground. It's the last night before the general election, so I have to make sure I dot all my I's and cross all my T's. There is no time to regret not putting in the work. So even after this interview, I'll be pounding the ground some more. I just decided
I could imagine. Well, first of all, welcome to the Real Talk with Lavi. I know you was here last week and on the radio for a short time. Nevertheless, today we had a number of things going on. I don't know if you heard of this guy. He's 20 years old. He's an influencer streamer. His name is I Show Speed, and if you don't know about him, when you get some time, look him up. This guy have over 53 to 50 something millions of followers, and people literally not just followers for followers' sake, but they're interactive. And he touched down on the ground here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we showed up for him. If it's one thing, we Caribbean, we can host foreigners, eh?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I've heard of him. I did a little research on him just a couple of days ago because Antigua is on his list too, so he should be coming here sometime
Right.
soon. So I did my research. I realized he does have a big following.
Right.
And it just, in my mind, it speaks about how innovative and how with globalization and so on, how small the world is. The world has become really small, and there are very creative ways in which people can make money. Because I'm sure this guy would have
You can
been
speak
making,
a little
or
bit
is
more in your
making.
device, so we can hear a little more louder.
Is it better there?
Go ahead, talk.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Right. So I was just saying, his the platform that he operates from, I'm sure it's a multi-million dollar platform that he has as relate.
I think we're losing you. Can you hear me? It seems like it froze.
As
Oh wow. Oh. Okay, so we just had Mr. Kelvin Shuggy Simon. Um, I guess you know things will happen. For whatever reason, we lost him. But we were speaking about the influencer that touched on here. One of the concerns that many people have, especially when it comes to parents, maybe in future, because I'm sure we're gonna be having a number of other things that will be happening eventually. I think that maybe seeing, especially for the young man's age, a lot of younger, the kids that will gravitate to him and know of him. So maybe parents could be notified. I don't know if the schools notify them, but I think something should be done a little bit more thorough in terms of letting the parents connect with the parents as well, and not just have your children just out random like that in crowds, because you're talking about impressionable children, right? This just
right.
my take on top of it going forward, Mr. Biff. Mr. Shuggy, you back?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I got a call, and I apologize. My phone is just going crazy. You can imagine it's a
Yeah,
busy
I could imagine.
before the election. So it's just a busy night. My phone just keep ringing.
All right,
So sorry
so
about that.
let's jump into it then, because we have to get this. I know tomorrow's elections, and I do get this.
Hmm.
There's quite a few people out there that are listening, and you are the candidate for tomorrow. I already basically was speaking about you, Mr. Kelvin Simon. You're widely known by the nickname Mr. Shuggy. You're a fresh
Truly,
voice in
yeah.
Antigua politics, and you are a guidance counsel and a former national basketball player, and the candidate for the UPP for St. Mary's South. So I'm going to jump into it and ask you a question right now. Okay, you spent years as a counselor.
Yes.
What is the most common heartbreak you hear from young people in Antigua, and how do you turn that into a political promise?
Um, in my time as a counselor, if I'm
Can
supposed
you?
to,
Yeah. Go ahead.
if in my time as a counselor, maybe average the different types of issues that I face, I would say neglect would probably pop out the loudest. Neglect from to speak on as relates to their parents. They feel as if they're not being listened to, feel as if they don't have a voice, feel as if how they feel doesn't matter. Um, Mostly that. And then as a result of that, many times they would find themselves getting into like deviant behaviors, or finding themselves associated with people that and that doesn't really have the best well-being at heart. So there is that, and I would say that that stood out mostly to me as a guidance counselor. And in terms of that mean putting a political spin to it, I would spend time for at the end of the day, the parents are supposed to be the closest ones to their children, and relationships don't just happen because their parents and the children are children. It takes time to build, and it has to be intentional. Children are not going to do it, so the responsibility is on the parent to foster that relationship with their children. And there's no excuse for that. There is no substitute for that. Parents just should do it. And if they don't, then at this time the kids grow up feeling a sense of not being wanted, that heard, not if
The connection is really
if
bad.
they you're not hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Right. So what's the last thing you heard me say?
Something about parents.
Right. So I was saying that time must be made to foster and develop that relationship with children.
Okay. All right. So you resign from Parliament voluntary to force a by-elections, right? That's risky. What was your family angry at you for taking the leap of faith?
I would not say that they were angry with me. That was not a part of what I had to deal with. My family supported me, and they still support me a lot in politics. So we knew that it was going to be an easy win. The people believe in me. I am from among the people. They know what I represent. They know the values that I bring to the table as a young politician. It's a community that I've interacted with my entire life, so they don't have to guess who I am as a person and what I've been doing in the community. And they also know that the government was just being petty and trying to be vindictive. So they were willing to support me, which is what they did. And as we know, I came out victorious again.
Good. So are you ready for tomorrow?
I'm ready. I am ready. I have been ready. As a politician, we have to stay ready. Well, I practice to stay ready. By I start campaigning from since the last election was done. So tomorrow is an election. My campaign starts the day after.
Um, Kelvin, I know you're not any stranger to this question, because I know you'll be hearing this where people are saying that if most time the people would say that politicians are hungry for power. Do you when you hear somebody say that somebody is hungry for power, and now that you are a candidate, matter of fact, you are a representation of St. Mary's South, right?
That's correct.
Right. How do you how do you use that to your as a positive for you?
Well, it depends because being hungry for power, and I would say that all politicians are hungry for power because
Exactly.
we don't come into this to lose. There is no second place medal that we get, and so that we can go home and feel good about. It's either you win or you lose. You come first or you come last, because it's most times it's a two horse race
Yes.
as as it is. So um, the policies and ideas that we have to develop the country, and I'm speaking generally as a politician here. You can't get to execute unless you have power. So it is the quest for power that's going to give you the ability once you win to execute your plans and to develop the country that you're vying to take office for. So, yes, all politicians should be hungry for power. However, having power and abusing power is a different story. Because if
Absolutely.
if you have power and you're not using the power for the betterment of the people, then you would have failed in your responsibilities and duties as a politician. So, yes, we are on a quest for power, hungry for power, just as any athlete competing, any person that has a company, they're hungry for success.
Exactly.
Success first is winning. So we're hungry for that. But just that when we get there, we should use that power for the benefit of the people.
I like that. You know, there's a difference. It's a being abuse of power and basically hungry to use the power to benefit the country and the people.
That's right.
Right. All right. So I just learned that you are you from Bowlands or are you just living in Bowlands?
I am from Bowlands. I was born, well, at the hospital in St. John's, but I was raised in Bowlands. Still live there.
All right. So you will see the dust and the dirt every day. So when you drive home tonight, right? What is the first physical change voters will see if you get more power?
Well, once you become the government, there will be significant infrastructural upgrade. The roads in Antigua and Barbuda are horrible. I'd say that without apology. Most of them. The communities need like recreational green spaces. The parks need to be upgraded. Proper programs and so on need to be a part of the build out of every community. Um, Activities for the elderly definitely is going to be something that's within my scope. And these are just some of the basic things that you'll see happening, especially from the aesthetic side of it. Just being around and looking around and driving around, you should be able to feel as if you're in a tropical place where the government feels as if it's their responsibility to make it look as if it's a developed or developing country, clean, well beautified, good roads, signs, etc. Stuff like that.
Nice. Well, listening to you, right? You've been called the people's champion. But who is your champion and who keeps you, Shuggy, grounded when the political attacks get personal?
Well, God, definitely, the Most High, the Creator, He is my source of strength. And I would go as far as to say I am in politics because He has ordained for me to be here. He has given me the mandate, He has given me the anointing, He has given me all the tools necessary. And these tools didn't just come, they were shaped and crafted in my life throughout my existence from as early as I can remember. Various experiences would have shaped me becoming who I am today as a politician. As I look back, some of the experiences I had no appreciation for at the time, but now looking back, I am happy that I went through everything that I did in life because it helped me to be who I am for today. So I would say God is my strength, and I speak to the Father a lot. Even this morning I was praying because in this political journey, as you know, it gets very nasty, it gets grimy, and you have to have a broad, in colloquial term, we have to have a kind of duck back where nothing settles on it, and
Absolutely.
then it runs off because you don't want to take it too personal that it starts to affect your mental capacity,
Yep.
but at the same time, you have to take it serious. So I practice to take it serious but not personal. So every night I want to be able to sleep comfortable. So the decisions that I make on a daily basis are well calculated, well thought through.
What are some of the things when you go out house to house in your
Them affecting my political life.
right?
So
When
you
you
hear
go
me?
when you go out in St. Mary's South, house to house or on the street, what are some of the things that you hear the people are telling you that they're disgruntled about, or what they expect to happen in Antigua in terms of the growth and development, jobs, the economy,
Yeah, well,
sports?
first of all, people, there are different things that I hear coming from the wider cross section of society, and it just depends on for sometimes the age of the individuals, the educational level, their background. Most are concerned with proper wages and the price for goods and services in Antigua and Barbuda, along with the infrastructure. Everybody wants to know that they can survive. Everybody wants to know that when they work and make $1, that they and also some of their wants. So the quality of life always jumps out. There are some young people that I speak to, they're concerned about the educational opportunities, if they'll be able to get proper employment after school or after college. Um, some will tell you about jobs, they want good paying jobs, they want proper roads to drive on, the ability to buy land, invest in homes and businesses. All of these are all different things that people come to me with as a politician. And I think the responsibility is on every government to provide these services and opportunities for their citizens.
Okay, if you come the Prime Minister of Antigua, and you see how social media is, right? Where people just go and say what they want to say and stuff like that. I've seen where some prime ministers, premier and prime ministers, or persons in high profile are using social media and are coming across very nasty, and some of the things that they would be saying, it is not of leadership qualities. How do you see yourself in that kind of leadership in terms of using social media to get your voice out, but at the same time the contents and context of what you're putting out to the people in terms of the attacks, and it's like the tick for tat. If somebody says something, like you get really nasty in your words and forget your position as a leader. How would you be of a difference if you hold that position? I mean, the position that you have at the moment, yes, but as a prime minister or premier, president of a country, and not just Antigua. I mean, we have seen it. The president of America, the prime minister of Antigua, the premier of Nevis. If you follow some of them and you see the way how they will react to the people, sometimes I wonder, in giving them the benefit of the doubt, because maybe it's not them behind the profile, but we want to know who is behind this profile that are sounding so braggadocious, so to speak.
Well, this is a very excellent question because as leaders, we're supposed to be examples and positive examples. So I believe in a model of responsible leadership, ethical leadership, and principle centered leadership. So it's not a situation where it's supposed to be you do as I say and not as I do. Our lives as leaders, and especially on this a platform of being an MP or a prime minister, should be one that is almost impeccable when it comes to being in the public space. It is not okay for prime ministers and leaders to be getting involved in petty debacles and throwing words and saying nasty things in the public space. Because at the end of the day, we're leading nations. And in leading nations, we're leading from the oldest to the youngest. And we can't be setting bad examples for our children. So first of all, there must be respect for the self, and then there must be respect for the wider community. And if that's not the case, if that's not the foundation, then of course, whoever as a leader is going to get it wrong. And people should hold themselves to high standards. Not that you are better than anybody else, but respect yourself enough so that you don't basically sink to the ground and get involved in these petty arguments. Because as leaders and politicians, our sole responsibility should be to improve the lives of people. So if we keep our level of discussion issues based rather than personal, I think it's a good way to start the conversation and start viewing things and operating from that type of platform. Because it is the issues that make our lives better or make our lives worse. So I think it should be surrounding the issues and not petty conversations. I personally don't have time for petty. I get turned off very easily when it comes to petty conversations.
Wow. But definitely this is especially to social media. I've seen the way how the prime minister, person that hold high office, the things them like they would say on social media that I want to know if it's the person is really behind those pages. So again, I still have to be careful because you might see a name and it might not be that person. It could be a fake page. I personally want to believe it's a fake page because I can't see where people in leadership would be, as you say, in petty arguments and stuff like that. Kelvin, are you there? Have we lost Kelvin again? All right, I think we might have to wrap it up. Yeah, because I don't see him coming back in. So we might, Biff? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Kelvin Simon for taking some time out. As you know, tomorrow is Antigua and Barbuda general elections, and I want to wish him the best. He's a counselor, a baller, and a man who fighting for St. Mary's South, right? So I just got to, again, thank him for taking the time out to be here with us on the Real Talk with Lavi. He did say, tomorrow is the election, so everybody just, calling him and things like that. So hopefully after the general election, we'll get him back when he's in a comfortable state to be here with us. Tonight was a bit rocky for us. Difficulties in terms of getting Mr. Kelvin in. Yeah, in terms of the internet connection. So we had I would say a poor internet connection. Not on our end here, but on his end over there in Antigua. So once again, this is lovely, lavish Lavi. Before he came in, we was speaking about I show speed here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I think that there's certain things that probably need to really take into accountability next time in terms of the traffic flow, because there are persons on the ground, they're tourists, people are still traveling, taking flights, going about their journey and everything. So, we might stop everything for this one person, but we also have to take in consideration of other persons on the grounds and the children in particular. I know they're probably happy. They're so excited they can sleep good tonight. I could imagine it. Can't wait for them to go and look at the YouTube again and see if you can see our local people. So this was a great day for St. Kitts and Nevis. Once again, I am Lavi Gumbs, and I just want to say a pleasant. He's in St. Martin now. Yeah, these guys don't sleep, Char, you're saying that he gone overnight in St. Kitts. This man is making millions of money. You know how much? Listen, this guy turning up the internet. all over. You understand? They the owners of TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, they love him. Huh?
53 million plus followers. So.
Exactly. And you know, it's someone said to me, when you're out there in those big continents and you know, saying this is a small place, and maybe we need to start following one another more. What I wanted to say though, there are some people that have a little question things and the query. Yeah, I've seen where Big Lice made a post. He's talking about there's influencers here and they don't go out and do these things. But again, I would say everybody have a valid point, but we still can't turn our eyes on an influencer, a foreigner that is coming here to our island with 53 million followers. Joy.
Actually, it looks like he's eating a 5-finger in St. Martin.
Oh, really?
He's operating. I don't know if he had seen one or eaten one before, because he's a little apprehensive, but once he tasted it, he is now taking quite a few big bites. And the thing about it is, perhaps he's extremely comfortable with the levels of security, because he keeps driving on the top of vehicles as opposed to inside. And it is a good thing for the Caribbean. It happened in Guadeloupe, happened in St. Kitts, happening in St. Martin. It is dark, as you would expect in St. Martin, but there's still a big crowd following him, and he's interacting with them here and there. So kudos to him. And Lavi, before we run away and wrap up, the amount of publicity he's giving to each of these countries, I don't believe we could pay for that, because 53 million followers, and that has nothing to do with people looking at him and not following him.
Well, I must say, right, when I would welcome Aisha Speed in St. Kitts anytime, because he did not bring no vulgarity here. There's a lot of promotion for the country. There's, when it comes to business marketing and everything, I mean, look at that. When he ate that KFC chicken, he literally went to the counter and hugged those girls, and basically saying that, yes, St. Kitts KFC is clock it. It's up there. It tastes good.
And that's super, and that's a big move for KFC in St. Kitts, because I know he ate KFC in Guadeloupe. They showed you that. And for him to say that in St. Kitts, that's a very, very, very big move.
And he looked like he's someone that is honest with his opinion.
Exactly.
Right? He's not just saying these things. He's honest with his opinion. And yeah, he's in St. Martin right now. I got to thank Mr. Whitaker for that. That is saying that he, you know, he's in St. Martin. He will overnight in St. Martin, no doubt. I wish that it would have been more for daylight. But then again, isn't it carnival in St. Martin?
I think something is happening there. Willful, skillful band.
Something is happening over there.
I think Willful, Skillful band with Dango Farrell out of Newtown. I think they won the road march or something along that line.
Okay, nice. Yeah, but again, I would definitely welcome people like I Show Speed. I've heard a few people calling him names, and these are grown people calling him the A name as if but people shouldn't have said these things, especially older people shouldn't have said these things. This guy is only 20 years old, Biff, right? And we got to be careful when we're saying things, because the young man came to St. Kitts and bring pure love, happiness, joy. I saw him over there at what's his name, over by Kevin, over on the strip, by Boozy's. And the crowd that was there, and he took some time. So, you sell your country through your food, to culture, to your music. Even the donkey and all, get it, it's done.
Yeah. Some may not have seen a donkey before in life,
Exactly. So we have to be very careful when we're just talking out of our head, and even if you don't like something, you do not call the guy any name, because with 53 millions, nobody in St. Kitts have 53 millions. I mean, we don't even have 53,000 people.
Well, to put that in perspective, let's assume our our population is 53,000 people.
Yes.
With the 53 million people he has, that is 1,000 times the whole population of St. Kitts and Nevis put together. 1,000.
Exactly. So
not one, not 10, not 100, 1,000 times. 55,000 times 1,000, that's 55 million. That's how much people. So it's all the dogs and cats and monkeys and trees and lizards and butterflies and wood slave, everything put together. I don't think we'll get 53 million.
Exactly, and this is why I want to say this. I want to take the time out and we'll talk with Lavi. I know we are a place where, you know, we become so social media that when people say something, we run away with it. But we need to start thinking for ourselves and not repeat things that people say. Like again, Joy, I saw some videos on social media where, you know, a particular person come on social media and speaking ill of the guy because it was having some traffic backed up and stuff like that. But it's only a one time in a lifetime. I mean, when is he gonna come back to St. Kitts again, Mr. Biff?
That's a good question, and I'm not saying that because he has 53 million followers, we should throw caution to the wind. Not at all saying that. And obviously, this thing was planned. Some may argue it may not have been planned to the extent it should have. I don't know when we knew he was coming to St. Kitts, and I am not certain how much communication was done. And obviously, he would have had certain expectations, certain demands. This need to happen, that need to happen, which we had to honor. And a man of his caliber, as young as he is, you could say the international fame, 53 million followers. I don't know how many people in the world got that. I don't think even the President of the United States has that. And for him to be comfortable with what the countries are offering, and I mentioned the security levels because he's on top of the vehicle driving tonight in St. Martin, and yes, he has security, but he's exposed if persons want it to be stupid and ridiculous. And when I think 53 people who's following him, they ain't got nothing to do with how many thousands or millions, looking at him on YouTube, no country, neither we, Dominique or Trinidad, can ever pay, in my humble view, for this level of advertising, this level of marketing,
this level of publicity. And he is black. He is a young black man that is out there enjoying himself. And I'm quite sure that he just being here in St. Kitts, you know, leave an impression on the impressionable young minds here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and a lot of them left with happiness and joy. What else can we ask for?
That's very good. And what I noticed, and you're very correct, what I noticed, Lavi, every country he goes to, he's wearing a shirt of that country in some way, size, shape, or form. One consistent thing, he wears a number 7. When I saw it, like, the first thing jump out to me was Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know anything about him. I only heard about him yesterday. And when I did a little research, it is in fact saying he's a big fan of Ronaldo from Portugal, and Ronaldo's number is number 7. So he's a big Ronaldo fan.
He also looked like he liked yellow, the color yellow.
Come again?
He looks like he liked the color yellow.
Okay. And I don't think there's any political inference to that.
Well, I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking of sunshine, light. You know, I just saw a color and I saw it in terms of light.
And it's a color in our national flag.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's one of 2 colors that are on the flag twice, the white and the yellow. But we have to always look at the glass half full, because when you're halfway up, you're halfway down. And I don't think too many times we look at the glass half full, Lavi. We tend to look at, even when the glass is 3/4 full, we look at the glass quarter empty. And I'm not saying give up everything and law or standards, but 53 million people plus whoever viewing and things like that, no more, we're going to get more publicity than, in my view, than the 3 nights of music festival put together.
Right, and I also want to encourage everyone that's out there that is listening, continue to support our local, because in order, as Aisha Speed said, when he started out, he did not have any followers, And if we here in St. Kitts and Nevis with the Caribbean island as well, if we come together, try, if you see somebody page and they have something good and you know them, you support them, and support them for good cause. I mean, drama sells, but I am not. I don't do the petty thing. I continue to give my little voices in my own way. Yeah, but I just gotta let people know that today St. Kitts would, if they never consider social media as powerful, I now know that many of persons out there will know the power of social media. Some people use it for however we want to use it, but social media is more than just one platform. There are many platforms and people, as you can see, I show speed. He used his platform and he goes with his platform and he actually coming out from behind the what do you call it, the screen, the keyboard, and he's coming to you, to your islands.
Two notable things, Lavi, is, and you mentioned one of them, he hasn't been using, for the minutes I've been looking at him, he has not used one bit of vulgarity, one bit of expletives. So for a young man, just 2021, that is something massive in today's world. It looks like we cannot get our message across without expletives, which is really sad on our behalf as a people.
Well, he ain't not perfect either, okay? You will hear little things, but it would not come out in a malicious way. Because at the end of the day, certain things are expression, but certain things that if he said something, it did not come out in a violent way. You know what I mean? Yeah. But basically, this is what's happening to St. Kitts and Nevis. I am so happy that I was here to witness this, and knowing that he came to St. Kitts and St. Kitts people came out, the people that was behind the planning. I recommend and really I endorse them, and I am so happy. I don't think that he realized that St. Kitts. One of the things, I don't know if you was following them, that he said St. Kitts is very peaceful. When he touched down, I guess when he went to other islands, maybe some of the islands might have carnival or different things going on there, but when they came first, he said St. Kitts peaceful. But I don't think that the last part with the music, we'll come to when it comes to the music, and with Sister Sensia for sure. So he went out being really jolly, he and his crew, and we couldn't ask for anything more. I heard Mr. Kelvin Simon say that he will be going to Antigua. Did you hear him say that?
Yes, he did, and it's some 15 countries he's visiting.
Yeah.
Trinidad, he's been to St. Lucia. He's been to Trinidad, St. Lucia, Dominica, and it's good for him to go to Dominica because they're currently experiencing some challenge with some flooding. And Guadeloupe, St. Martin, now St. Kitts. And his intention is to set a record, from what I understand, to be streaming from at least 4 countries in one day. Apparently that has never been done. I don't know what the record is. I haven't done any research. But once he does the 4 countries in one day, that will be a record. And as it is, I think he is on his way, because he's now in St. Martin. He did St. Kitts before, he did Guadeloupe, and I think he was in Dominica today. So that's the 4 countries.
All right, and he is a young black man. And this is how we're going to end this evening's programming with the Real Talk with Lavi. Thank you so much for being a part of this beautiful experience this evening. And tomorrow it's going to be April 30th. The last day of the month. I just want to continue to let people know, stay strong, stay wise, stay positive. Yeah, so have a good night, and before I end here tonight, I just want to let everyone know, tune in tomorrow morning with Island Tea. I don't know if Troy is still hosting that tomorrow, so it will be Mr. Biff, and who else is going to be with you?
We may not have any guests tomorrow, I'm not certain, but we have TDC coming in on Friday, is it? So we should be having a guest in because we try to do that at least once per day.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be an exciting show. Guest or no guest, it will be an exciting show.
I could imagine. All right, so there you hear it. So tune in tomorrow for the Island Tea. And this is Lavi Gumbs on the Real Talk saying good evening. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM